Okay, it says we're live. We're live. Hola, Mark. Could you hear me okay? Good morning. Oops. I don't know how to spell good. I think you got to add a G to it. Good morning. Working on a brand new laptop today. Hopefully it's issue free right now. Type in a hello or goodbye or good to see you. Top of the day. Ron is on the job. Thank you so much for that. Awesome. We're going to start right on time here. I just had to configure the laptop. I got my trading notebook right here next to me. It's 8:58. We'll go ahead and add a contract just for fun today. We're going to add more than one contract, but we're going to start. Since it's a brand new laptop, none of this stuff is saved. So I'm just going to add it. Really easy to do. Emini S&P, March 2021, down 18 points or handles today. Good morning, Griffith, JD, Jeff, Mike, Robert, RT, Paulie, George, William. You guys found the control panel. David, yo. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. A lot of exciting things going on. I'll go ahead and start with just talking about the website's got some changes on here. You'll notice everything's pretty, all oriented toward InfinityAT Pro, which is what we're going to talk about today. But at the very bottom, we added a Ninjatrader Demo account. So if you want to try it, just click on that little green button at the bottom. Fill out the form here. Same thing. It'll start the process to get a Ninjatrader Demo account. So the bottom button's Ninja. The top button, the middle button here is real time for InfinityAT Pro. They're both real time, but they're two different options here. So it's kind of a subtle sneak in there. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. A lot of good mornings. I appreciate that. And it's 9 o'clock, so let's get started here. That was the main thing on the website I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let's shoot over to risk. Remember, trading futures, options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility. And although that's an equation for opportunity, it's also an equation for risk. So be careful. Only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. My personal definition, money I could afford to lose, doesn't change my lifestyle or lengthen my retirement horizon. I understand everybody is unique and different in that in the world. And so it's a personal decision that you got to work through. If you need help talking about risk capital, what kind of margin, day trade margins you should apply on a certain size account, those kind of things, feel free to reach out to me directly. We could talk about it. I'm not a fan of over leverage, so be careful with the leverage on this. All right, past performance not indicative of future results. We're not going to talk about past performance, and then we're going to be in a live demo, simulated live mode today. Simulated live mode. So any questions, pop them in. I have the dashboard up. Jan, good morning. Ryan said good about Ninja. I was about to complain about AT. Okay. There you go. You got another option. So all I did was I added a contract to the dashboard. I'm going to kind of give myself some real estate here because we're going to start adding. Well, before I do that, those of you who are new, the first time you get here, the first time you are at the dashboard, adding contracts, you're just going to click on the drop-down menu in the upper left, and then you're going to add. So let's just go, I'll add MES, right? MESM. I'll add the micro, and I'm going to select it and hit the add button. It's really that straightforward, really that simple to add or manipulate or remove contracts from the actual quote board or scoreboard, which was kind of a old-fashioned way of us to describe it. The other thing I'm going to do is on settings here on the right-hand side, I'm going to get rid of the show tooltips. They're annoying me, but if you're brand new to it, you might want tooltips on because when you go ahead and hover over something, it gives you a heads up about what's about to happen. So I'm going to turn it off. The other thing I'm going to do is launch chart in new window instead of up in here. Instead of it being locked in the main frame, I want to launch in the new window. That's how I roll. Simple as that. If you don't like that, you don't have to do it that way. Squish this up here, and now we're starting to make some progress. I'm going to click on chart, ES, M1. We'll open up a new browser window. You could have as many of these open as you want. or as few of these open as you want. It's up to you. So I'm going to click over to 10 minutes. Let's get started here. Let's get it set up here on a 10-minute chart. Click on that. Hopefully everybody can see okay. There's no issues on seeing. I know I got black background, black screens, black charts, black everything. But that was the consensus. I've been asking you guys, what color do you want this stuff? And you're telling me black. So it's going to be a black background. Griffin short to ES. Well, you're jumping the shark on me on that one. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here today. I'm going to add some stuff. Let's go to studies. Let's go to AT volume profile. Where's it at? AT volume profile. And then after I add it, I'm going to hit that F5 key. I got this new laptop I'm running here, so let's give it a second. And that'll refresh it. You could also just refresh it as a browser window. Let me try again here. Sorry, brand new computer setup, guys. Let's go to show as a tab. And then let's just going to refresh it the old-fashioned way. Hit that refresh button there, and we should be good to go. There we go. Studies, volume profiles up there. Let's adjust the volume. It's kind of not that big of a range today. We'll keep bar height at 2 today. We're going to go ahead and shorten the, something funky's going on with my setup. We'll figure that out in a minute. Opacity, we're going to juice that up. Left justify. We are going to add some numbers. Setting 1700 is good. Left justify numbers is good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and change some of these colors to make it easier for us to see. Bear with me as I'm mumbling through this thing. I know I'm mumbling, but let's take a look what we got so far. All right. The opacity is kind of weak here. We got to increase the opacity a little bit. Let's juice that up. There we go. Now we have what we're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and add. What do you want to add today? We'll add the CCI today instead of the MACD. Our track record with the MACD hasn't been that great. So CCI right here, minus 118. We have a double distribution here on the volume profile. Overnight up top, bigger volume kicked in a little bit lower down below, and these gray bars right here. I'm actually going to go ahead and kind of make that a little bit more conspicuous. We'll change the bar height to 4 just to kind of highlight it a little bit better. David wants the squeeze on there. He wants a squeeze on there. All right, we'll put squeeze on. This is a ST Simpler Trading squeeze. We'll add that simple enough. Another oscillator type of thing. I'm not exactly sure how to use this thing, but I see some red dots here, which is problematic. So we'll rely on David to kind of guide us through what we're looking at on that particular setting. So, I had this new laptop I had to literally configure this morning. So I really don't know what's going on in the news right now. I don't know what's going on with the economic events. So I'm going to rely on the candles to give me some clue here on what to look for. The volume profile seems to have settled down in the lower left here. CCI hasn't really crossed over much except for this morning around 5:30. This crossover here over the 0 line is really, really important to me. When you see these crossovers and then within a candle or so, then you break down to minus 100 or less, vice versa. Same thing here. You got a crossover, and then within a candle, you're breaking up over plus 100. Those things are important to me. Obviously, this signal didn't pan out at 2:20 in the morning, but the signal here, if you're just taking it as it is, did pan out right at 5:30. So those are the kind of things I'm looking at with the CCI or any kind of oscillator, not any kind, but most oscillators. We want to look at how the 0 line crosses and the velocity of the 0 line crosses. David says red dots, that's it. And this sure does look like a sell signal right now. So we're gonna take a little bit of a peek here. I don't really see a place for a fib line that's going to make sense for me. I don't want to draw it all the way back to yesterday. So let's kind of expand this out a little bit and take a look at what we're seeing here. The range is, let's just kind of go high to low, 71. I mean, it's 30 handles is pretty decent. A pretty decent move down. Sometimes when you adjust your scale on your y-axis, the picture looks a little different, doesn't it? The picture looks a little different. So keep that in mind. Think in terms of points and ticks. instead of kind of just what it looks like on the screen right now. So let's take a look at this candle here. So the 850 candle looks like buyers came in and we kind of settled up here a little bit higher, and then the very next candle it turned around and said no, and kind of took a. So this was a breath of fresh air candle right here, but it didn't last. Went back underwater on the next candle, and we're looking at some downward pressure here right here. So in my opinion, right here, you know, a little bit bearish at the moment. Not looking to buy low. A counter, you know, I would almost consider it a counter trend trade at this point to buy down here, and because you know we're literally been ever since I don't know 5 o'clock in the morning we've been kind of settling our way back down. So I'm looking at, you know, it's looking a little negative. Maybe we're looking for places to sell. I'm going to add a couple of areas of what I'm going to call resistance. Let's just get a little segment going here. Segment. I'll make this segment. We will make it yellow, and again, I'm going to do a couple different ones. I'm going to do one here. I think that's a good one. And then, you know, down here, we're starting to come up with a couple of another level here. So this is basically a zone, right? I'm creating a zone of what I'm going to call resistance. And certainly this one is one right here from this morning at 51.5. Griffin says, I'm thinking at least 39.30 and maybe 39.20 for a low. I haven't got that far in my thought process, but let me just screw this down a little bit so we have some more real estate. So, all right, right now I'm thinking if we had a 2-unit trade, it would look something like this. So, and actually I'm going to launch it from a trading. No, I won't launch it. I'll do some trading dome trades later, but let's go ahead and get an order in here. And I'm going to see if we could penetrate this area of this little mini area of what I'm calling resistance, right? So, you know, I'm going to be 1 tick above that for one of the units. And then I want to sell a second unit, same thing, right below this one. Okay, right below that one. So now I've got 2 units in there, and you can see that it's color-coded red. Everything's good. Solid red line means it's sent to the exchange. I don't have any stops or anything associated with it right now. Best practices would be put a stop in at this very second, right? If this thing rallies up, I get filled. I'm short 1. I'm short 2. I at least want to have a, you know, some sort of emergency stop somewhere up here, and we can change this around. You're going to make it a 2 lot. Because it's going to be a buy stop, and it would you know 1 2 we'd have a 2 lot position, we'd have a 2 contract position or 2 unit position depending on what you wanted to say. So there, I put it in. I mean, it's catastrophic stop right now. We're going to think about what to really do as time goes on. I don't expect any kind of crazy velocity, but you know, on the upside, I don't expect crazy velocity on the upside. Downside, different story. Yeah, we're not doing the VWAP today, David. I hear you. We could add that. Conviction is selling. Conviction to sell is waning. This is what David's comment. This may take a while to prove out. It could be. All right, we got one of the units now, right? So we're happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this little segment. I'm just going to right-click, delete it. Now, what I do want to do, though, is I do want to put a target. I do want to put a target, and that target's going to be a higher low of the existing bar. I'm just going to put it in there right there. Oops, rookie mistake. Got to make it a 1 lot. Got to make it a 1 lot because I'm only short 1 right now, -1 right now. You can see it on the right-hand side of the screen. And then I also want to add my open trade equity. This is where my position is from. Open trade equity. Let's make sure we're showing the line here. We don't need to show the value, and that will pop. Whoop, black line. Come on, Jim. Let's try that again. Let's make the line white. Hit done. And it'll refresh in a second and pop in there. All right. Any questions so far? Anything overly interesting? Open P&L, OTE, open trade equity. That's based on the mark-to-market price. So in other words, if you were going to buy one back at the prevailing price, that's what your P&L would be. That's what your trade P&L would be. Why is my white line not being a white line? Let's do that for now until it changes its results here. There we go. There we go. Good job, Jim. Figure that out. Okay, any questions, any ideas? See what happens. I mean, the point of control is a little bit south of here, although we're starting to make any one of these histograms could become the new point of control. Volume seems to be slowing down a little bit. Let's just take a look at the quote board really fast and take a look at the volume of the day. 482,000. That's nothing to write home about. That's not huge volume. That's, kind of ho-hum volume so far on the day. Nothing too exciting. Let me just pull up a trading dome for us. Hit the D button there, and there you go. Here's our dome. So you can see everything is in sync. I'm going to lower this particular thing. Everything's syncing. Now the speed of the dome is probably, in my humble estimation, a lot quicker than the speed of the chart with respect to showing, open P&L and stuff like that. If you look at the bottom here, there's two different numbers. The number in the left where it says 50, 37, 50, 25, that's your mark to market on the position, right? That's green, so it's positive. We have the yellow flag in the middle here showing us where we're short from. We're -1 from 46.25. We have our limit order for a second unit up here at 50 3/4. And then we have a target on the first position at 42.5. So that's, I'm going to take a breath here. John says Russell's leading higher. That's a great comment though, John, because what I've seen lately, I mean, some of these stock index futures are marching to their own drum these days. Let's go ahead and take a peek. I'm going to add the Russell here pretty easily. RTY is the RTI M1. Let's add that. It's green. That's a good thing. Like just exactly what John gave us a heads up for. Let's go to YM for the mini Dow. YMM1. That's a mouthful. Add that. So that's down a little bit. Let's go ahead and go to the NQ. I'm sure the NQ is going to be way down. It's been again marching to its own drummer there. NQ. Add that one. And we're down 128 on the NQ. So NQ is getting hammered. RTY is holding its own. RTY is, it's more of a a mid cap. It's a different stock index, right? You have large cap in the ES. You have the mid caps in the RT. You have the blue chip, and then you have the NASDAQ, which used to be tech stock. Now it's just non-financials. So those core stock indices have different principles. As an example, the ES, probably those types of companies are going to be 20 to 40% of their revenues are going to be based internationally, whereas the RTY, it's going to be mostly domestic, mostly domestic issues facing the that hit the RTY versus international issues. So it's just kind of a yin and yang difference there between the two. All right, so something happened in while I was blabbing. It looks like we got our first target. Everything is cool. So now the question, we have to ask another question. Is our second unit valid now? Do we want to keep this second unit? We were successful on one unit. Or one contract? Do we want to keep it there and hang tight on that second unit here? And my answer to that question is let's wait to see what another bar looks like before we do that. And again, I'm not interested at this particular point in time of trying to buy a low. This candle that's developing right now, that's a mighty big wick. It's a lot of selling pressure. That's showing me a lot of selling pressure right there on this particular, where I have my pointer at on that particular candle. But again, this candle is kind of new. It's kind of new. And a lot of times these bottoms here, where you have 1, 2, 3 wicks that are relatively big looking at the bottom, it's trying to get down once, twice, 3 times, can't quite get there. Sometimes it is a self-fulfilling prophecy though. So I'm a little bit, nervous about it. So let's see what happens here and hang tight. The squeeze again is still red dots. It looks like these histogram bars on the squeeze are getting smaller. I'm not an expert on the squeeze in the slightest, but I did want to show you that they are available here on these particular charts. Other very interesting area of weakness here, you have on the volume profile, we have a very small node. I'll call it a node. I don't know if that's correct or not at the top. And then we have, 4, 8, 12, 16 histograms of very little volume. I'd call that market weakness. Not a lot of deals done there. Not a lot of happiness there. Not a lot of price happiness there. No equilibrium there. The market just, crashed right through that on a small volume and reestablished its footing down lower where we're at right now. So that's something to think about. We start trading into that area, then it could be okay, but as we're making new lows. But if we do make new lows, we're out of that second unit. I'm going to cancel that second unit. Let's see if we hold our own or make new lows. David says the ES is weighted by NASDAQ stocks by 24%. I don't know. I think the counter trend here would be a little dangerous. Be careful with that. Careful with that. 37 and we have a color-coded trading ladder here. 37.75 is pink or purple, depending on how your monitor is set up. It's 920. Let's see if that 920 bar shoots us through here. This looks very bearish right now. CCI is minus 157. So it's kind of a slow crawl down, but there we go. So I am for sure right at that low. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of, I'm going to go up to the second unit we're trying to sell up here. I'm going to move my mouse over to the limit column. I'm going to right click and that cancels it. If you toggle over the charts, you also get a reminder order canceled. So you have that ability to, have two different devices and see things happening in real time. The stop loss up here, very important to cancel it. I could just cancel it from here. I could cancel it from the trading ladder, or I could cancel it here from the little thing. I'll just go there, a little button, hit cancel all. We're good to go. Making new lows right now. David says NQ will influence the ES. Now we have a big spike down, and I'm going to get rid of the squeeze because I don't know what I'm talking about with the squeeze. There we go. Let's take a look at the CCI, though. I mean, we just jumped down to minus 257 real quickly. We were at, what, 116 when we talked about it before? There we go. That's pretty negative right now. That's pretty negative right now. Pretty bearish right now. We're going to hang tight here and see what happens. We got 9 more minutes for the 830 bar. But again, I'm looking at places to sell right now, and I'm going to look at this. I'm going to look at this point of control right here as a potential magnet, right? It's a potential magnet. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I want to look at some of these highs right here. We had a little anomaly with a peak up here. And so, again, if I'm looking to go short again, I want to use the point of control at this point to try to get some kind of pull up. I guess it's not a pull back. Is it a pull back? Pull up. Some kind of price action on the upward side before we get in there. So 43 would be 43 and a quarter, 43 even would be an interesting place for me to be, I think. And it would look something like this. And I'm going to add an auto stop here. Server side auto stop, and we're going to go probably 6 ticks above here. So if we're at 51 and a half, let's try to get it to 53, give or take. And then we won't put a profit target in yet. I'm just going to hit the sell button, and there we go. So what we've done is we've created a server-side OCO. A server-side OCO. Here's our order to entry. Here's our entry, 93.43. It's a red drink stirrer or label over here. Solid line means it's sent to the exchange. Limit order sent to the exchange. Now the stop loss, which is associated with this, is a dotted, it's a child order, right? So it's dot, dot, dot. It's green, which means it's being held server side on your behalf by the folks at Transact. So you don't have to really worry. You could lose your internet connection. You could log off, go get a pizza or whatever, whatever you want to do. And then if you do get, if this order gets filled, this OTO gets filled, then this dotted line becomes a solid line, right? We send it. Boom. This guy's got a position. He needs protection. When I say guy, I mean unisex, guy, gal. Don't send me nasty emails. And that thing goes live. That thing goes live. That thing goes solid, and you're good. It's called a server-side OCO. Order triggers other. David agrees with me. Contra trend trade would be dangerous. I agree with that. John asks, do you think you resume the trading contest? I would like to do that right now. But John, right now, there's a lot of integration work going on with us and Ninja, and that kind of thing requires a little bit of programming magic. We will do that, the live trading challenges at some point in the future, not this quarter or next quarter. But yeah, those were a lot of fun. Those were a lot of fun. John Fry, ES long entry is 31 3/4. Well, we're getting there. Price may probe through it first, then come back above it. Yeah, it does probe a lot. It does probe a lot. I'm a patient dude right now, so I'm going to wait and I'm going to think. We got 6 more minutes before a new candle, and that's okay. I'm not in any huge hurry just to place a trade. Again, I'm not a fan of the counter trend right at this very moment, especially with the CCI at minus 271. I mean, I would want to see it kind of at least get to that minus 100 number. Yeah, David's right. CME does trading contests a couple times a year. For sure. I'm going to change my settings here on the trading ladder to legacy color scheme. Click make the negative into a positive. This might be a little bit more what you're used to seeing from a trading ladder point of view. You do see the volume, a tick by tick volume histogram on the trading dome. Remember, my volume histogram, volume by price, not volume by price, but volume profile, I guess I would call it. That's based on 4 ticks. Each histogram bar here is 4 ticks. You could adjust it any way you want, but that's how I have it adjusted for 4 ticks right now. Whereas the dome is showing it tick by tick. Dome is showing it tick by tick. John changed his mind on that long. He's now at 28.75. I'm going to stick to my guns here. See if we can get to 43. See if we can get to 43. I mean, the size of the candle is kind of important right now. Let me show you what I mean. The previous candle is high to low, 10 handles. The high was 47.5. The low is 37.5. The existing one we have right now is 7 handles, right? So if we can get up to 43, that would be a 10 handle candle, same size as the previous one. So it's not unreasonable to say we can't get that. And then here, the previous candle was only 7. One before that was 8, and I'm estimating. So the size of these candles on a 10-minute chart are at least they're being consistent. It'll eventually kind of turn into these things in the middle of the day, real short ones, real little ones. But right now, I think we're still early enough in the open to consider a 10-handle candle. 10-handle candle, that rhymes. Someone should trademark that slogan. 10handlecandle.com. That's going to be my new trading website. So we got a few ticks to go. Why don't you just get short now, Jim? Why are you waiting? Because that's the thing. You don't chase. I don't think chasing, in my mind, even though entry isn't 100% scientific, chasing is 100% bad usually. You might get lucky, but then again, most of the times you chase, you get filled, and then you would have got filled anyway because you weren't patient. Patience is like the number one thing, right? Because there's a lot of different reasons why, and I'm not a psychology major, but there's a lot of real reasons why patience is not just a matter of mental toughness, right? There's a lot of things going through. You got to come up with tricks and techniques, twirling your pen, reading some other trading news, writing in your journal. You got to come up with some other tricks to kind of get your attention off of this impulse that you have in your brain. The flight, the fight, impulses that are going on in your brain to try to do something, to jump into action. It's exciting. You want to get involved or you want to stay out, but it's something you have to learn, come up with techniques to manage to keep that emotional drive to chase a fill, and you may be better off. You may be better off. So you say, even if you save a couple ticks. Now, alternatively, if we don't get filled here, it's going to be bad. It's not going to be bad. It's not the end of the world. It's the second best thing that could happen to you is you don't get filled. It's okay, because there's going to be another trade idea after this, and there's going to be another trade idea after that. David says, watching paint dry always helps. I hear you. I mean, or toggle to some other markets and, let this thing go. You could certainly do that. So right there, one tick away, everyone says, go just hit sell market. We're not going to do it. We're going to stick to our guns. There we go. All right. So, all right. Now I'm happy, right? Right. We're happy. We got to fill here, and now we got to think a little bit more, right? Our stop is here. Our stop was triggered. That OTO, order triggers other. This is the other, right? So now we have a stop. It's a solid green line now, right? It's not a dotted green line anymore. It's a solid green line. So now we got to think in terms of where would we like to place our profit target at. And I really think I like the idea of looking at the lows here, looking at these low candles here. We've traded here a few times today. This low, buyers came in, pushed us back up again to this level. So, I'd almost think a couple ticks above here would be okay. So 39-ish maybe might not be a bad place to go. And I'm just going to put my mouse over on the trading dome. We'll do it on the trading dome, and we'll try to get a 39er here. And there we go. That's my trade anatomy right now. Probably lower stops if it goes my way. CCI is above zero now, so I'm a little worried about that. Not terribly worried. If we start driving toward 100, I'm going to be pretty worried. But let's see what happens here. When you feel, yeah, that's a good. Patrick says, when I feel good about a trade, it's too late to get out. Well, maybe. I mean, we've decided where we're going to get out, and that's there for now. And then we might want to change our, the risk reward ratio on this trade is way out of whack right now. So we will definitely going to fine tune this thing if price action gets back down to 43 even. So this is not okay. So this is not a bracket order. This is not, because this was the order that we associated with our entry, the stop. The target we entered manually, right? The target we entered manually. So this is not an OCO bracket right now. If this gets hit, if our stop gets hit, then our profit target order here, our limit order down here at 39.39 is still there. You're going to have to cancel it if you get stopped out. Alternatively, with the same thing, if we get our profit target, they're going to have to cancel that. Okay, a lot of times when you get up to market weakness, you're talking about gaps here. A lot of times, market weakness remains market weakness, and this market just drives through there. This market just drives through there. Now look at the CCI is really whacked here. So we're in a little bit of trouble here. We're in a little bit of trouble here. $9.32. We got a long way to go. Low volume. Things are slow. Let's take a look back at the quote board. Let's add, I don't know, let's add some stuff. Let's add some, I am freezing. I got to move this out of the way here. It looks like I froze my quote board on us. I'm going to move it over here. Don't worry about that. When it starts moving again, I'll move it back into play. It starts moving again. Let's go to GC, gold. Gold futures. I want to say we're in the M contract, which we are. Minus 25. That's a pretty big deal on gold. 25 bucks on gold down is a big deal. Let's go to ZB. We'll go to Treasury bonds. Add that pretty easily. ZBM1. And we're down half a handle, or about 500 bucks on that. So that's my picture here. I mean, you could add some of the currencies if you want to help give you, crude oil would be a good thing to look at too. Crude oil kind of helps us establish some footing here. Not even down $1. That's not a big deal on crude oil. All right, so where are we at here? We got 7 more minutes before a new candle. The 930 bar brought us in some more buying, kind of, not really. 39.50 to 51 is possible interim. That's going to correspond to my yellow line there, David. Stop at 50. Yeah, sometimes some of these yellow lines, you do get a little peak above it. That's why I went 6 ticks above. That's why I went 6 ticks above on that stop. No, another strategy is to sell a second unit here and then try to get a cost average price here. This depends on your account size, and it depends. If you're doing it with micros, it's a lot easier. But by selling another one, if we break this area of again what I called support, get a second unit there, then my average price is going to be out in between the two, and then you have a 2-unit trade you could manage. Kind of see where we're at in perspective here. We're halfway between our entry and our stop right now. CCI is 63, 65 CCI. 39.49 next resistance for John. This tick by tick volume profile on the dome is interesting, right? We have very little volume here where our stop is, very little volume. And then the meat is a little bit lower here, right where we got in and above. So a lot of volume here on tick by tick. So that volume profile in this volume column gives you granular information, which could be kind of interesting. David says Darvis box top at 50, it seems. The other idea is if you're super aggressive is do a second unit now. If you're super aggressive, do a second unit now, and then you're going to have to work with where you're going to put your stop at. It's going to be from a micro point of view, it'd be a lot easier to do from a overall net P&L point of view, because it's 1/10 the size. But the more I think about it here, the more a second unit might be better than a stop, and then move our stop up, and then kind of work with the 2-unit trade. But let's wait for 4 minutes for a new candle before we do that. The next candle's, let's see what the next candle is. Pro Car Care says, I think we will get to 39.62 before we drop again. Okay, that's a good strategy. I mean, that would be super patient, right? Put an order up there. There's nothing wrong with that. If you were going to try to sell one at 62, it's easily done. I mean, you could easily do it, and that's where that's what the trade would look like for Pro Car Care. And again, you'd be patient. That's 15 handles. It's a big move up. At 9:37 in the morning. So, but still, I love that kind of order entry. I love the idea of, hey, let's put something out there that makes some sense to us based on our analysis, and then we could be patient. If it doesn't go, it doesn't go. I mean, that's okay. And you're buying yourself 15 handles of risk right there. Or I should say, selling yourself. Well, that's true. To move higher, it has to go past 39.49. It has to go past 39.48, actually. because we're at 47 3/4. But I hear what you're saying. I'm teasing you. I hear what you're saying. I'm teasing you. So we had 3 more minutes here. This next candle should be interesting. Cancel that. Get back to we'll get back to reality here. Things might be starting to settle down right now. The volume profile is really meaty in the middle. A lot, really, small range, a lot of meat between, the top of the value area here, I don't know, 49, and then toward the bottom of the value area at 40. So from 40 to 49, there seems to be a lot of what's called price happiness, a lot of volume kicking in there. And it could be the day, right? This whole day could be that. We could be range bound. We could be stuck in here, which means the point of control is really, really interesting because it gives you kind of a pivot line. It gives you a point where, above it you want to go short, below it you want to go long. But then you got to match it up with your other your other indicators and what the candles are telling you. Right now the CCI is 30, 36, 39, 40. It's starting to maybe consider slowing down. We're almost back to break even on the trade. It's really, really making me wish we would have had a second unit on right now, but that's okay. Griffin's changing the stop to break even. Yeah, no offense, but that's let's if we can't have fun in here, then what are we doing? Beautiful day in Chicago. I think we're gonna have snow on Thursday, and then on Sunday it's supposed to be 70 degrees. I don't know what's going on. Climate change. we have some wacky weather here in Chicago. So the 930 candle was kind of a nothing burger, right? I mean, a lot of indecisiveness here. It wasn't very big. Let's take a look at how big it was. Turn on my little, high to low, 5 handles only, right? Remember the previous candle was, what was it? 15 handles, right? Now we have another little baby step down. Market's still not sure. It might be totally happy right now. We might be priced good right now. Nobody wants to move out of the range. Nobody wants to attack the area of resistance here. And earlier today, I might have been calling this the area support, which was a mental typo, of course, right? So areas above the price action or the previous candle display, areas above, those are areas of resistance. If it were down below, it would be area of support. I'm not sure if I said it properly, when I jumped on this webinar, I drew that line or not. Sometimes my mouth goes faster than my brain. Today is Griffith's birthday. You just remembered. That means you're not 21 today. You're probably 22 or 23. But happy birthday. Happy birthday to Griffin. And anyone else's birthdays out there today. Statistically, we should have more than one birthday today. We have 120 plus people in here. My guess is someone else's birthday is today also. If it is, type it in. You could be birthday buddies with Griffin. Come on, Griffin lies about his age. I'm not going to say it out loud. People have to read it. All right, so at 9:41, we have a new candle here. It's an inside bar so far. Remember, we talked about CCI is kind of going horizontal now at 52. Inside bar, lower high, higher low, temporarily. Let's see if we could change that. We could see if the momentum of this thing could change and shift. Griffin says I have a BIL and a SIL that have the same birthday. It's David's unbirthday. Still waiting for this candle to break up or down. We'll see what happens here in a second. We're going to adjust our stop probably, or decide to sell a second unit. My feeling here is we're adjusting our stop if we can. See if we could break through here. Kind of make it a little bit easier to see. And see if I could extend this without messing everything up. There's my line in the sand right there. I don't know if it's perfectly horizontal or I'm off a little bit. But there it is. All right, JT with the high school math. If you have 25 people in a room, there's a 50% chance that 2 people have the same birthday. Right, so we have 100, we had 120, we're about 115 right now. We should be there. We should be there. We're bumping up against that, again, we're bumping up against that area of resistance. Let's see if we could penetrate through it. If we do penetrate through it, well, there we go. We're out. If we don't, we don't. 9:44. We still got 6 minutes, and this could be one of those peekaboo bars, right? Peekaboo bars. There's our stop. The other inclination that I have right now, and it's not a real inclination, it's a fake one, and I realize it's not a fake one, but I'm going to ignore it. It's the inclination or the desire to move my stop and say, you know what? I didn't give myself enough breathing room. The area of resistance is a lot bigger than just that line that Jim drew. Therefore, my stop should be a lot higher. I'm going to move it. I'm just going to click and move it. Well, again, that's kind of like chasing it. Now, when you're chasing in order to get in, that's the same thing. And usually, almost always results in disaster. At least that's my experience. Again, this is my experience, my opinion. But when you start moving things around after really, if you don't like this trade setup right now, if you think, hey, this thing is run its course, we're not, it didn't work. I want to reset. Well, then reset, hit the flatten all button, start over, and get out. But don't start, moving stops unless you're moving them down. VWAP now green, NQ is geared up. We'll see where that leaves us. Got 4 more minutes for the next candle. Now, the other thing that's going through my mind is if we do substantively drive on above our 39.53 stop, the question in my mind is this thing going to keep going for the rest of the day? I'm looking at a CCI of 100. It's pretty good. Let me just adjust this a little bit. And our volume profile up here, if you think about this as a separate volume profile that has a separate point of control, it's 60.25. That's kind of an area to think about. I'm just going to draw a horizontal line there. I'm just going to make it white. I'll make it small because it's not actionable in my mind right at this point. It's something I'm thinking about. Griffin says it's 1, 3, and 9 minute have turned long. Might have to start looking at things differently. Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, again, we have that stop in there, and we're going to live by the stop or die by the stop. Could be 2 inside days in a row. I mean, when you have lower volume like this and not a lot of stuff going on, for sure it could be. You know, I think when we start getting to 52 here, we have 191 contracts traded all day there. That's weak. 101 here, 223 here at 52 and a quarter. This is really weak stuff here, and we should just drive through that area right there if it decides to take off. So John made an interesting observation. He's saying 39.49 is now acting as support. In other words, keeping the price. That's right here, keeping the prices up high, and you can see a bigger spike in the volume. 10,820 there, accumulating right there. 9:48. 2 more minutes. We'll get a new bar, a new candle, and then we'll decide what to do for the day, and probably call it a day. We'll try again on Thursday. Try it again on Thursday. Yeah. So levels. You know, I hear you with the comment about levels before regular trading hours. You know, obviously you have a lot of volume at 8:30 Chicago time, 9:30 East Coast time, with the cash market opening up, or the equity, you know, New York Stock Exchange opening. You know, these kind of the equity markets kick in, and you have institutional things going on, and you have a lot of different, you know, a lot of just regular equity traders and options traders, you know, chiming in, and you do have a paradigm shift in what happened the night before. But keep in mind, the longer term folks, you know, at midnight we have Eurex opening up, and so those professionals are expressing their opinion. You know, the UK opens up a couple hours later, and those investment managers and traders are expressing their opinion on the market, and it's creating these different nodes on the volume profile, which in my mind shouldn't be completely ignored. I mean, just because, you know, there's no monopoly on what the price should be. Susan, I always use 10-minute. I always use 10-minute. 950 bar kicked in. You just see that velocity right there. There were some algo sellers kicking in there temporarily for 3 or 4 ticks. You just saw that happen really fast. It might stabilize and rally back up again, but at 9:30, right, 9:50, right when that bar changed, you saw a little bit extra velocity on the trading dome. And I think you see that every 10 minutes, every 15-minute increment, you see that type of behavior. We'll stick here for a couple more minutes, guys. Any questions? You know, I do want to remind everybody we are trading in a real-time sim mode today. It's not live trades. These are all sim dollars. And the experience is different from a psychological point of view, certainly, right? So a good pathway for those of you who are new. Sam, hang on a second on that. You know, so a pathway for those of you who are new is practice account, get familiar with the mechanics of the software, all the bells and whistles. There's a lot of them. I'm not even hitting the tip of the iceberg with what I'm showing today. That's kind of number one. And getting a practice account is easy peasy. You're just going and filling out a form somewhere, a web form somewhere, and it's not even somewhere. It's on our website. I'll show you where real fast. Practice account. Click this button right here in the middle. If you want a free practice account, what I'm doing, you get an email immediately. Username, password, login instructions, and all that stuff. How-to videos in the video tutorial section. Easy peasy. Now, you have a second option. Remember, we're part of Ninja now, Ninjatrader. And if you want, you can get a Ninjatrader. We're at the bottom here. Start free trial Ninja. Click on there, fill that out. Same thing. You're going to fill it out. You're going to email username and password immediately, and you'll be able to rock and roll up with a. It's a 14-day free trial. 14 days. So keep that in mind. Ron, 14 days. And that's kind of a hard stop too. With me on the Infinity side, you know, you could probably sweet talk me into a little extension because I'm like that. But I'm easy like that. So, but in any event, um, Sam, yeah, I guess everybody gets a free year this year, right, Sam? So we're going to see a lot of fifth and sixth year guys out there. I think that's probably good. Although what bothers me about it, Sam, is the freshmen at 18 years old matching up against a 24-year-old is a different animal, right? At 24, you're more, you have your man muscles, right? You're at a different, physical level. Whereas at 18, you're still getting there. So that's the only thing I don't like about it. But other than the fact that getting these really good guys going again for another year is awesome. Sorry, guys, that was our wrestling talk for the morning. All right, so now CCI is 73 still, but look, we have an equal and opposite candle. I'm going to stay for this. I'm excited. We're going to stay for this right now. Equal and opposite candle so far, right? We have buying equal and opposite is where you have the exact same size candle, but the opposite direction side by side. We have 7 minutes to go. The chances of us ending it with an equal and opposite is pretty low. But if you notice, we're right at the point of control. Surprise, surprise. Point of control. There we are. Acts like a magnet sometimes, not always. Acts like a magnet. Yeah, you're right, Sam. By the way, Jay Cagney is thinking about, after a year and a half, is thinking about a comeback at Indiana. We'll see what he does. I'm trying to talk him out of it. Second unit time is, I think we missed it on the second. No, I wouldn't do a second unit right now. I would not. Right? I mean, you'd be doing a second unit right at the point of control. And that's a crapshoot in my mind, unless you're just going for 4 or 5 ticks on one of the units. I wouldn't do it right here. I'm going to let it ride. I'm going to let my patience ride. We're almost to break even here on this. And then, again, at 10 o'clock, we'll stick around for 5 minutes for sure, maybe longer. And then we could adjust our stops and decide what to do. And if you've had enough of this, and that's okay. Remember, my 10-minute point of view is this shouldn't take more than an hour. This trade idea. It should take anywhere from a couple minutes to less than an hour, and we're going to be up against it, right? We're going to be up against that self-imposed kind of mental time frame here for a day trade. If I click on the closed book here on the charts, it shows me where we sold it. That was 40 minutes ago almost. So I'm way past my time duration on this trade, which is not making me happy, which is going to make me want to trail my stop. So in any event, I'm going to hang tight. We're going to wait. We're going to wait it out. We're going to be patient. We're going to see what happens with this candle. We got 4 more minutes. And see what happens. We're still just, maybe we have a perfect equal and opposite right now, but we still have a long way to go on this one. Long way to go. But one thing that did happen so far is our area of resistance did hold, at least for now, knock on wood, it did hold. It was legit. That yellow line held its own a little bit. And remember, see, it kind of peaks up a little bit. Remember, it's a range. It's not a line. It's not a number. It's actually, a few ticks up, a few ticks down. When you think about where is resistance, where is support, these markets tend to be too volatile. Even with the volume, I mean, look at the volume here. We got bids in the hundreds, offers in the hundreds, 10 ticks deep. A lot of people ask me, Jim, what's the data feed cost? When I say 10 ticks deep, or when anyone says 10 ticks deep, you see the bids and offers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ticks below where the market is. You see the offers 10 ticks above where the market is. That's 10 ticks deep. That's an $11 a month charge. If you just want 1 tick deep, the highest bid and the lowest offer, then it's $1 a month. So I get that. It's a very confusing thing. It's called top of book or best bid and offer. Top of book's $1. 10 ticks deep is $11. So that's the difference there. And it's kind of, it's for those of you who are new, it's kind of confusing. But in my humble opinion, all of this data here, all of these bids and offers here, in the E-mini S&P market, don't help me with the trade decision because it moves too fast. It's too dynamic. You know, I'm not going to see big parked orders that it's going to say, oh, I want to buy here. Oh, I want to sell here. You know, I'm not going to see that. So my point is the best bid and offer is good, right? Top bid and offer is good. So, all right, we have 2 more minutes. And I do expect, or let's keep an eye on the data. Let's keep an eye on the trading ladder. And when we get to 10 o'clock, Chicago time, 11 o'clock, East Coast time, let's see if there's any more velocity on the trading dome at that magic 10 o'clock. That's the hour, on the hour, right? On the hour, we should have some systems folks. We should have some algo folks. We should have some regular folks making a decision quickly based on where this candle closes. And that's how information is generated. That's how moving averages are generated. That's how CCI, that's how everything's generated. It's based on, you know, when a candle closes, especially for most indicators. And so when you get a new time frame, again, I'm using a 10-minute. You could use a 15-minute, a 5-minute, a 30-minute, a 60-minute, whatever time frame you want. And Bartlett's got to leave early. No worries. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I'm staying in overtime here. I want to see what happens at 10 o'clock. Those things happen. Triggers happen. Alarms go off. Buzzers go off. Automatic trading goes off. I.e. symmetry. There we go. Well, not that much. I didn't see that much. We're still like hovering right around there. Right at the point of control. Smack dab at the point of control. What do you make of that? Yeah, so unfortunately we're kind of stuck here, right? We're kind of stuck, and the decision is simple in my mind. The decision, you can't, if you move your stop, you're brushing up against this area resistance here, right? So if I were to say, listen, I want to trail my stop a little bit down here, you could do that, but the concept here is this area up here is strong, right? And we're kind of range bound in this volume profile here right now. So you're kind of asking to get stopped out. I mean, hopefully you're not, but you know, it's almost better in my mind just to get out right now and then try again, right? My patience on this trade is worn out. I've been in it too long, and I just going to end it. I'm going to hit the flatten button, and it says, do you want to flatten and cancel or flatten only? I'm going to flatten and cancel, and then that's it. I'm done. I'm out. Not comfortable with it anymore. We're just kind of hovering right there in the point of control, and sure enough, it'll break like crazy now that I've done that. But but anyway, reset. So we had a winner, we had a loser. Look at how pretty this volume profile is right now. I'm going to keep that in mind. I think the bias right now is starting to push up a little bit. And one other thing I'm going to point out before we actually end this thing here, and I'm going to put an area. I'm going to go back to my segment tool, and I'm going to put an area. I'm going to highlight an area support right now. So you've got all of these candles here. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles here that literally are bouncing off this low here, and that in my mind is called an area of support. And the counter trend folks now are maybe a little more reasonable. Maybe the counter trend trade at this point, it's not even a counter trend point. If you're just looking from the 620 mark all the way to here, this is just a regular range now. And so, you know, when I'm looking at this in this area right here, maybe this is a good place to consider actually trying to get long with the stop down, you know, and prices below value here. In any event, that's all I got for today. Appreciate everybody being here. Be careful of the risk. We're going to be at it again Thursday. You want to try a practice account, do it. whether it's with InfinityAT or with Ninja. If you need help on either, let me know. And I'm going to leave you with this. Be safe out there. Be good to each other. And we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.